some of the work that we have done in 5 counties in Kenya. As I wait for the presentation, it's about embracing strategic partnerships to address interconnected supply chain disruptions across 5 counties in Kenya. So that is Nairobi, Nakuru, Kakamega, Isiolo, and Trans Nzoia. Yes, so InSupply Health is a health advisory firm based here in Kenya with physical presence in Tanzania and also in Ethiopia. We have partnered also with KPA in some of our projects, especially on scaling DMPS in the private sector. So we are, as an organization, we are domiciled into 4 domains. One of the domains is supply chain, of which I am a member of. I don't know what has happened. As I wait for...
Ni power imeenda.
Ni power imeenda.
Tunataka power.
Yeah, so maybe I'll proceed as they set up the slide deck. So we have 4 domains at our organization. One of it is supply chain. We also have what we call data transformation, intelligence, and impact, which is normally a MLE domain. And we also have another domain called workforce optimization. Then the last one is the market access and shaping. So those are the 4 domains that we are having at the organization. So in 2023, we embarked on a landscaping assessment just to understand the challenges around supply chain in the 5 counties that I have already mentioned. And we identified 3 critical areas that we need to address for us to be able to achieve product availability at the health facility level. So one of it was forecasting, which is basically quantification process. That is the forecasting and supply planning of health products and technology. The other one was health financing, and then the last bit will be procurement. So we identified inefficiencies in these 3 areas, and we came up with a methodology as to how we are going to address these challenges. So the Workforce Development Project was incepted in 2022, and through the Directorate of Health Products and Technology Unit at the Ministry of Health, we partnered with other organizations to be able to address those challenges. One of the organizations is CIPS, that is the Chartered Institute of Procurement and Supplies, and then we also had Health System Insights and also Africa Resource Center. So CIPS was handling the procurement bit, and then HSI and ACK were handling the health financing bit. Then InSupply, we were supporting with the forecasting process for all HPTs at the county level. So what is the methodology that we used? So we looked at the inefficiencies of conducting quantification for health products at the health facility level, basically looking at how manual the process was initially, from data collection to aggregation to extrapolation and to generating the quantification outputs. And we developed an AI-enabled quantification tool that was able to pull this data from the data collection tool and was able to do the aggregation and extrapolation, and therefore minimizing the errors that were there before when it came to the manual way of doing quantification. So basically what this meant was that we were enhancing the process to minimize the error and have accurate forecast that the counties could use to do advocacy when it comes to procurement. Then we went a step further and developed another tool that we call the Strategic Resource Management Tool. So what this tool does is that once the county gets an allocation for budget for procurement of health products and technology, they are able to do equitable resource allocation with this tool, and then the health facilities are also able to do prioritization when it comes to procurement of health products. What was the criteria for developing this tool. So we looked at different scenarios where you need to factor in some of the data elements that you need for you to be able to do prioritization. And one of the things is stock on hand, because for you to be able to determine what you need for the future, you also need to factor in what you have on hand. And then we looked at what we call the VEN classification. That is the vital, essential, and non-essential, because basically there are products that are vital in one county, but they are not vital in another county. So based on your classification, that tool is able to pick which products are vital, which ones are essential, and which ones are non-essential. And therefore, it means that when it comes to procurement, they are not left out when you want to do that order. The other one was the class ABC, and we all know that when it comes to classification of products, class A are those ones that have high usage, class B is moderate usage, and then class C is the low usage. So we combined this and we developed an algorithm. So that algorithm is what happens at the back end when you want to prioritize. So let's say I have insufficient funds to do procurement. If I put those funds in that tool, it is able to prioritize the quantities that I need to procure based on that algorithm until it reaches that point that it matches the funds that are available for procurement. So that was the methodology. The other bit is the impact teams approach. So impact teams approach is a people-centered, data-driven supply chain problem-solving technique. It basically means information mobilized for performance, analysis, and continuous transformation. So it gives facilities and also the sub-county and the county an opportunity to be able to have structured problem solving when it comes to looking at products like root cause analysis, conducting root cause analysis through the 5 whys and also the fishbone. So that was another approach that we use. What were the results that we have seen so far? So one of the results that we have seen across the counties that we have supported is that there has been an increased resource allocation when it comes to the budget allocation for 2025, 2026 as compared to financial year 2024, 2020, 2025. And then when it came to allocation, this is an output from Nakuru County. So what that graph basically shows is that the tool is able to do equitable resource allocation based on the forecast that was generated at each of those sub-counties. So the first graph shows the allocation bit, and then the other one shows the forecast. So it just shows that there are similarities when it comes to allocation and also the needs of the sub-counties. Then this one is a snippet of the prioritization output in one of the health facilities. And what it basically means is that if you have sufficient products for one product, then that tool will be able to pick that product is sufficient in stock, and then it will give it a prioritized order of 0, because basically you do not need it. But if it is 0 and it is a critical component, then it will be able to give you the prioritized quantities for you to make procurement for that particular product. So this is also a snippet of stock status of tracer MNH commodities that are reported on MOH 647 across the 5 counties. And one of the good thing about this is that there was no stock out of those tracer commodities across all the 5 counties, and that this is data from February and March, and it is also available on KHIS. So what we do as an organization, we just visualize this data through a platform called the Indicator Tracking Tool, which is also available, and it is an open source tool for everyone who can access. So what is my parting shot? So my parting shot is this. These problems cannot be addressed in silos. When you do quantification, it does not translate to availability of health products at the health facility level. So you do quantification, but you also have to address the health financing bit. You use the quantification outputs, and then you advocate for increased resources of health products and technologies. So we supported the counties also to do what we call an advocacy brief, which was disseminated to the county executive and also to the health committee of the county assembly, who are normally the decision makers when it comes to resource allocation at the health facility level. Then once you have the resources, you also need to address the procurement inefficiencies at the health facility level and also at the county level by developing policies such as those ones offering fencing a percentage of your budget allocation towards procurement of health products and technology, and also addressing issues to do with suppliers, because we all know that KEMSA and meds are normally the primary source of products when it comes to purchasing. But we also have other counties that are using other suppliers to get these supplies. So addressing quantification, forecasting, and procurement will ultimately lead to product availability. So that is my parting shot for this presentation. Thank you so much.
Wow, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you for keeping time, yeah? We have been working with the supply, and thank you for working with KPA. We value you. For just appreciating him, let us all stand up. Tupige makofi kama ile ya Moi na tukanyage chini hivi. Ndio, mnaikumbuka? 1 2 3. Twende? Thank you. Nataka usikae chini. Msiketi. Tumekuwa tukifanya mambo ya pesa, tumeenda kwa data. Unajua hiyo, that one can make our minds dull. Yeah? Then I want you to stretch a bit. Kidogo tu. Sideways. And this side again. Kama unaweza ruka juu, ruka. Next, now you need to be now keen for this. You can sit down now. Thank you very much. I can now at least say I made people obey my voice, and they obeyed. And the next person to come in here is Yvonne. Yvonne, karibu. It's from DKT. So we need to be alert. They sell something called KISS.